The Indiana Fever are planning to ship Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks. I expect UCLA coach Corey Close to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks. Corey Close, after that championship game that she won with the UCLA Bruins, she's been very adamant. She's been very upfront. Yeah, all this transfer portal stuff, I'm not really sure.
No one is willing to admit on TV that there is more going on in the Indiana Fever locker room. A video of the future star of the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, sitting on the bench with fire in her eyes went viral on social media a few days ago. Clark was approached by head coach Stephanie White, who spoke to her and instructed Raven Johnson to assume Clark's position. In an attempt to diffuse the tension, Clark shook his head. Mitchell Kelsey leaned in. The camera told the truth. Before we go any further, Clark and White met with the media and said that, in White's words, there was nothing to sew and it wasn't a story. According to Clark, they were just two competitive people who wanted to be successful. Alright, but when two individuals have to publicly declare that they are not fighting, you begin to question what they are actually trying to hide. Perhaps this is the most bizarre rumor about Caitlin Clark to yet. The Indiana Fever may trade Caitlin Clark to the Los Angeles Sparks, according to a developing rumor. The fact that people are even talking about it indicates how irritated some fans are with the Fever at the moment, even if no reliable reports have confirmed it. Because after that, what happened? A former NBA champion has stated on social media that Indiana wants Clark out, and there have been tales of a secret meeting and trade rumors. Well, let's talk about what's really going on. That's nothing new, but it seems like everyone anticipates that we will depart from where we were a year ago. Indeed, we have a number of guys from the previous season, but we also have a ton of new players who are contributing significantly to our team. It only takes a moment, in my opinion, to establish chemistry, rhythm, and mutual trust. I believe that this is a typical team task, but we must act quickly. We all know we're better than it, so everyone is a little irritated with the way we're playing. However, I believe that occasionally this kind of information is necessary to identify the core of an issue. After repeated losses, Sophie Cunningham said on a podcast that the Fever had led to what she described as a protracted team meeting. She didn't give any details, but the fact that she called it long implies something. Teams don't have long meetings when things are going well. At this point, things start to get fascinating because the atmosphere outside the building is very different. Sophie Cunningham tried to portray it in a positive way, even if the official story from the Fever's camp is that everything is good, that Clark and White respect each other, and that the team is coming together to owe her credit. And CC are very competitive individuals who just care about winning, and occasionally you run into each other. However, it was all done with the intention of achieving the same goal. Ultimately, we weren't playing well. I don't support what she did. She would say the same thing, and she and Steph get along just great, but I think there's space for improvement in how you react to things. And their connection is like that. They talked about it and gave it a hug later that night or early the following morning. Things will happen almost every day of the week when you are in highly competitive conditions. However, as I mentioned before, everything we do and say is scrutinized, and someone will use it as a highlight reel. Additionally, I believe that where there isn't always divide, the media enjoys creating it. She claims that Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White are merely two very competitive people who sometimes disagree because they both want to be successful. To be honest, it's the most tactful thing she could have said. She didn't say that they were in love, though, if you read between the lines. She says the chemistry isn't really good. She said, they disagree, but they both want the same thing. In a league where every game is examined, evaluated, and posted on social media in a matter of minutes, we call that an uncomfortable relationship under the pressure of a challenging season. It is neither an uneasy relationship nor a partnership. The Fever PR machine can temporarily control the narrative, but you have no control over what is already taking place within the locker room. For me, that would mean a great deal. I'm hearing from a reliable source, declares Michael Thompson. Caitlin is no longer desired by the Fever. Go get her immediately, Sparks. And I'm going to take this at its value till he comes out and says he's chilling. I'm treating this seriously. I do not consider this to be clickbait. He has trustworthy sources, in my opinion. I do think he has contacts in the WNBA. I do think he has contacts with the Los Angeles Sparks. And I do think that he has floated it in the same manner as Dan Dokich has. I think Michael Thompson has suggested it. They don't really like them. When Michael Thompson, the father of four-time NBA champion Klay Thompson and color commentator for Los Angeles Lakers radio broadcasts, wrote something on X on June 3rd. The entire basketball internet came to a complete stop. This isn't some anonymous account with a blue checkmark and 400 followers. This person possesses NBA championship rings, a media platform, and close ties to the Los Angeles basketball world. He doesn't share this kind of information for fun. He became public about something that drew his attention because the individual who told him was so passionate about it. But it didn't stop there. Shortly after, Thompson doubled down. In another post he said, "Yeah, I hear the Fever are sick of Clark. Do you hear that too? I'm over Clark." At those 3 words, the internet went crazy. As soon as possible, the CIA declined to make a public statement, instead depending on the usual silent denials from sources who maintained that any rumors that Clark was reachable were untrue. On paper, that appears reassuring. But there is an issue with the WNBA as well as athletics in general. By the time a rejection is issued, the conversation has already advanced. The seed has been sown, and the question has been asked. People also start forming relationships they weren't looking for. Yes, I was discussing that earlier today, and to be honest, I think that game was one of my first truly memorable experiences in this league. First victory. Yes. Was it? Yes. All right. Yes, the first victory. It was also one of my first road journeys. Although I didn't do well in that game, I did make several significant shots towards the end, and I simply recall how amazing the setting was. There were a lot of famous people in the building for that game, and I recall that Klay Thompson was courtside. Very enjoyable. This is similar to questions like, "What are some of my favorite places to play?" that I get asked during interviews. This is the one that springs to mind every time. I'm just ecstatic. My team played some excellent games here last year, but it was undoubtedly difficult to watch from the sidelines. I can't wait to play again after this. Now that the plot shifts from drama to strategy, let's talk about the Los Angeles perspective. When the Fever went to Los Angeles on May 13th to play the Sparks, Caitlin Clark was in a positive frame of mind. Before the game, she was accessible to the media. She smiled. She answered questions. The Fever won 87-78, making it seem like a normal road trip. Clark looked more like herself than she had in weeks, scoring 24 points and dishing out 9 assists. However, the rumors that are already circulating suggest that there was more going on in Los Angeles behind the scenes than a basketball game. Clark reportedly had a private conversation with people connected to the Sparks organization. This was neither a league-approved meeting nor a formal trade transaction. The kind of discourse where a player starts thinking about what a new scenario might involve, whether on purpose or not. The optics are already hurting, regardless of how exactly that meeting happened. Because as soon as Michael Thompson posted his claim and named the Sparks as the team that should go get her, everything in Los Angeles started to make sense. Think about what the Sparks have now. Kate Martin, a former Iowa teammate of Caitlin Clark's who she has trusted throughout her basketball career, signed a deal with Los Angeles earlier this season. Cameron Brink, a young, versatile big man who can stretch the floor and guard the basket, is another member of the team. The foundation for an environment that is favorable to Clark is already being established in Southern California. I believe there is smoke in this area. I don't think the Indiana Fever are as fond of Caitlin Clark as that front staff would have us believe, but I'm not suggesting a trade will happen. Additionally, Lynn Dunn goes out of her way to repost statements made by Carolyn Peck. We are also aware of Carolyn Peck's feelings on Caitlin Clark. We are fully aware of Carolyn Peck's feelings for Caitlin Clark. Carolyn Peck discussing the norm. Stephanie White discussed the Standard yesterday. The Standard, Lynn Dunn, returns today. Observing this circumstance will be fascinating. Behind the scenes, Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert will remark, "We need to get her to Los Angeles." Luka had to be transported to LA in the same manner. CeCe needs to be brought to Los Angeles so we can begin the showtime. In a mid-market city, the Indiana Fever are a mid-market team. They have a passionate fan following, have been competitive, and are currently the biggest draw in women's basketball because to Caitlin Clark. But Indianapolis is not New York nor Los Angeles. Nobody in the major sports media wants to state this clearly. The WNBA is aware of a serious market issue. Additionally, for a league that is desperately trying to grow both domestically and abroad, Having your crown jewel play in a smaller market poses a structural challenge. Next up come the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers ownership group just purchased the Los Angeles Lakers from the Buss family, giving one of the NBA's most elite teams substantial financial resources, corporate ties, and brand infrastructure. The Sparks are now a fascinating chess piece because they are a part of the Los Angeles sports landscape. An ownership group has Dodgers money, Lakers prestige, and a stadium in cryptocurrency. At Com Arena, the same arena where the Lakers played, the Sparks would have the financial means, marketing infrastructure, and media ties to emerge as a true WNBA juggernaut. Add to that mixture Clark, Caitlin. In addition, you are building a team and a global brand. It is not ridiculous that WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, who has been more vocal about player compensation and WNBA expansion, might covertly find a move to Los Angeles enticing. Not demand it, not force it. Just make the situation conducive. Leagues work by creating the conditions required for the market to self-correct at the highest levels.